welcome to Thursday's edition of Cracking the Cryptic, and a puzzle I have been looking forward to trying ever since I discovered its existence. This is the new puzzle Buffet by none other than Zetamath. Now, Zetamath is a constructor I admire hugely, absolutely hugely, and I will just say that the rule set to this puzzle, it might be the longest we've ever featured. All of the constraints are very standard, but there are a lot of them, and I think most constructors, we wouldn't really consider a rule set this long, but Zetamath, you basically know you're in for an absolute treat. So we're making an exception. There's a very long rule set. It's all very standard, so nothing terribly outrageous. But you will have to trust me that long rule sets from a very small set of setters, I think are worth the trouble. If you look at Logic Masters Germany, the page almost runs out. There are so many comments basically saying this is amazing, and my favourite was by Nordy, who wrote Holy Interactions Batman, which I thought has to be the video title, assuming I can solve this. It has got 4 stars out of 5 for difficulty and a 99% approval rating, I think. So it's going to be a great treat, and I'm delighted to tell you as well that Zetamath submitted this to the channel and did note that the move has gone well for him and Tristan, so we're very pleased to hear that, and they are very much enjoying their new house. So I hope, Zetamath, you're going to get to enjoy a video of me battling with you through this puzzle. We shall see. For that to be the case, I have to solve it. I've got some news for you today. Where should we start? Let's start with this month's Patreon reward, where this was Cracking the Cryptic, of course, themed around sort of sea monsters and loosely on a new film. And I can tell you who the winner is. We drew the winner this morning. The winner is Craig Anderson. So, Mr. Anderson, you are the winner. We will be in touch about your prize. Many congratulations. And we have put together a roll of honour, which will appear at the end of this video. Now, this roll of honour, I think, is 4 minutes long, which gives you an idea of how many of you managed to solve it. So very, very well done. Hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of you. And we have we've adjusted the speed of the roll of honour to exactly match the beautiful piece of music that was composed for us by none other than Kurt Hugo Schneider, the American YouTuber and sort of musical genius, general genius indeed, certainly a polymath of type. And Kurt Hugo was kind enough to basically make this piece of music for us, and it's a really, really beautiful piece of music, and we use it as often as we can. And we've got the roll of honour at the end of this video, which I recommend you listening to it if you don't want to watch it. Now, the other thing that we need to talk about is that Mark and I have been away, so I am behind on birthdays, and or anniversaries even. I'm going to put that right now. I'm going to start by saying a happy 1.5 year anniversary to Alex and Danny. And I think I might even have a picture. Have I got a picture? This is, yeah, there's a picture of Danny with Goose Cinnamon. I think that's her new cat. Alex is studying philosophy, and Danny's doing psychology. And I'm delighted to hear that all is going well in your lives, and wish you all the best. I think your anniversary was actually was it 5 days ago, the 22nd. So I'm a little bit late with that one. Also late with saying happy birthday to Angela. Angela, your birthday was on the 24th of July, and I was very pleased to read that your partner Andrew was ordering the chocolate cake with a black dot ratio of icing. Now, I mean, it does beg the question, 1 to 2. I mean, it should really be 1 to 1, Andrew, but I mean 1 to 2. Well, maybe actually you mean twice as much icing as cake. That could be correct. That's probably correct, in which case it will be delicious. Ben, you turned 40, the big 40, on the 21st of July. And I know this because she wrote to us and said that she and baby Teddy would like to let you know that they love you dearly, basically. And she described you as the most loving husband and daddy. And in fact extended an invitation to Mark and me to your house as well. So thank you very much for the invite. And Ben, I hope you had a brilliant birthday. I understand you're an engineer who attended Cambridge, the best university, of course. Emma, on the 18th of July, it was your birthday, I think. Rather amusingly, I did like the fact that you gave up chocolate cake as a New Year's resolution at the age of 16, and you have kept that resolution until this year when you are 34. So good effort, Emma. I mean, I'm not sure it's entirely sensible to give up chocolate cake, but I hope you managed to have some other cake to celebrate your birthday. Harry, you turned 17 on the 17th of July. And I know this because your friend James wrote to us and told us, so I hope you had a great birthday. And then Will near Chichester. I think it's your birthday today. It might actually be today. So you have a birthday that is today, which is great. And your work friend Holly wrote to us. And apparently she spotted you with a Sudoku book during a lunch hour. And you realise that you both watch Cracking the Cryptic, which is rather cool. It's good when Cracking the Cryptic interrupts real life, I think. And she always enjoys your brief chats. And what does that say? I can't read my own writing. Oh, your brief chats at work, and likes your sense of humour. And says you need another reminder to watch the original Rogan video. So consider yourself reminded, Will, and I hope you have a great birthday today. And then finally, a very special little girl, Lizzie. Lizzie, on the 21st of July, you turned 9. And I know this because your dad, John, wrote to us. And some of you may know John under his Sudoku pseudonym, Jobo. But your daddy got you into setting variant Sudokus due to Cracking the Cryptic. Well, if you are doing that at the age of 9, Lizzie, well done you. That is absolutely fantastic to hear. And I hope that you had an absolutely wonderful birthday. And that's all the messages. So I'm slowly but steadily catching up, which is grand. But now we're going to turn our attention to zetamath's puzzle, and I'm going to read you the rules. And this is going to be a lengthy part of the video, but I'm sure it will be worth the wait. Here we go. So the rules are normal Sudoku rules apply. That's fairly straightforward. Now each circle marks the head of a familiar line constraint, which takes the form of a snake of length from 2 to 9 cells. The specific constraint is indicated by the colour of the circle and by a letter on the colourblind friendly version. So I am going to solve this using the colourblind friendly version, which I hope will be helpful because, well, for example, I have a lot of difficulty seeing that these two colours are different, but they are because this has an M in it and this has an E in it. So these are different constraints. And, okay, the circle contains the length of the snake. Okay. The snakes move orthogonally through the centres of some cells and do not touch themselves orthogonally. What does that mean? Well, it means that that is not a snake, because that's a sort of a ring, and the snake, which was going this way quite happily, turned back on itself and hit itself. Now it's not allowed to do that. Can it touch itself diagonally? I don't know. I think it can. The snakes move orthogonally, which means they move from edge. You know, the cells that the snake passes to are always going to be those with which it shares an edge. So the snake doesn't move like that. But I think the snakes might be able to touch each other or touch themselves diagonally. All the instructions say is that they cannot touch themselves orthogonally. Snakes may freely touch each other, but do not share cells. Okay, so the snakes we're going to draw don't overlap, is what I take from that. The grey cells in box 4 are not part of any snake. Oh, okay. And the featured clue types are as follows. So I think everything here is standard, but I will read them all out. We have Renban, which is purple /R. Right, so we have 3 snakes that are Renban snakes, and the digits on a Renban line form a sequence of consecutive digits in any order. Digits do not repeat along a Renban. Okay, so normal Renban rules apply. So if we imagine that was I'll make it purple. Imagine this was a snake, and that was a 1. I was about to put the 1 here, but then I realised that that was meant to be the length of the snake, and that wouldn't work. Then this line would be 1, 2, 3, 4 in any order. So it could be something like that. Oh no, hang on, the 4 would have to go here. Okay, I'm trying to assimilate the rules as I do the examples, which is not maybe a sensible thing to do. Right, region sum lines, blue/S. We've got one of those, I believe. I can only see one S. I might be wrong. The cells along a region sum line in each 3x3 box it passes through sum to the same total. That's a very nice way of region sum lines is one of those interesting rule sets where it's very difficult to write. The rule's very clear once you understand it, but to write it down so a newcomer can understand it clearly is not easy. And I know this because I've attempted to do it many times, but I like that formulation, zetamath. Assuming it was you who came up with that formulation and it wasn't one of the testers. So the cells along a region sum line. So imagine this did something like this. Let's just paint that in as a possibility. Then what we'd be saying is within this 3x3 box, you can see that those 5 cells are taken by the S line. So the sum of those cells would be the same as the sum of these 2 cells, which is the total contents of the blue line in box 2, and that would be the same as these cells, which would be the total sum of the blue line in box 5. And I've realised I've drawn a 10-cell snake, which is impossible, so you'll have to forgive me for that. I didn't mean to do it. Oh no, there's a bit more to the region sum line rule. Region sum lines always occupy at least 2 regions. Okay, well I could have guessed that, I think. All right, but that's just saying I think that this couldn't be. We couldn't just make the region sum the snake do that. That's a bit silly, isn't it? That doesn't really have a concept of region sums about it. Now we've got German whispers, which are the green W lines. Okay, W for whispers. Let's remember that. And adjacent digits along a whispers line differ by at least 5. So if this square was a 1, let's draw a line like that. If this was a 1, this would have to be at least 6, because it needs to be at least 5 different from 1. Modular lines. Yellow. Okay, that's that one, is it? Now I can only see one modular line. Each string of 3 adjacent cells along a modular line contains 1 of 147, 1 of 258, and 1 of 369. I mean, this is monstrous. So I hate modular lines. They're very, very confusing. Mark, I think, was it Mark who came up with the idea of using the number pad? If you look at your number pad on your keyboard, the sort of vertical stripe of it's got 1, 4 and 7 in it, so you know that one of these has to be 1, 4 or 7, one of them has to be 2, 5, 8, one of them has to be 3, 6, 9 in some order. But obviously once you know what the first one is, it's sort of helpful, because then you know what the fourth one is, etc. Okay. Oh no, hang on, now I'm wrong as well. I hadn't read the rules properly, because it then says that is true what I've said, but it then says length 2 modular lines contain 1 of each of 2 of these groups. So in this puzzle, it's not necessary for these modular lines or the entropy line, which is this one, to be only of length, or to have 1 of each type of digit. They can have They can have only 2 cells on them, and then they only have 2 to have 2 types of digits. Now, and then we come on to the entropic lines, which are the orange E line, which is that one, and it says each string of 3 adjacent cells along a modular line. No, hang on, that can't be right. That should say, there's a mistake in my instructions here. It says each string of 3 adjacent cells along a modular line. It should say entropic line, I think. Okay, so I will have to correct that afterwards. Each string of 3 adjacent cells along an orange entropic line, which is this one, contains 1 of 1, 2 and 3, 1 of 4, 5 and 6, and 1 of 7, 8 and 9. So imagine this did this. What colour is it? Orange. Then, if we look at that section, one of these has to be a 1, 2, 3, one of these has to be a 4, 5, 6, one of them has to be a 7, 8, 9. But then if you look at those, you can see that with that same principle applies to those three, and the implication of that is that those two would have to have the same they would have to have the same entropy. They would have to be, imagine this was 1, 2, 3, then this would also have to be 1, 2, 3. There's more rules, do not worry. There's another rule which says that the length 2 entropic lines contain one of each of these two groups. So it's possible that this is just a length 2 line, like that. Right, and then we go on to parity lines, red P. So this is the parity line. Adjacent digits along a parity line have opposite parity. So parity is oddness and evenness. So if this was odd, the next digit on the line would have to be even. If this was even, the next digit on the line would have to be odd, etc. 10 lines, grey T lines. I can see 2 of those. It's not, oh, hang on. It's not possible that these lines run into each other, is it? No, it said, let me just double check that. Each circle marks the head of a familiar line constraint, which takes the form of a snake. And then didn't it say something about non-overlapping? Yes, the snakes do not share cells. Okay, so each of these are different. I was suddenly worried that you could connect them, but I think we have to treat these differently. And this is a 10 line, so let's just make it like that. Now, I think I understand what 10 lines do. So digits along a 10 line must be entirely divided into non-overlapping groups of adjacent cells which sum to 10. So, okay, let's think about what this could look like. So if this was a 5-cell line, that would be a 5. But then we'd have to split it into orthogonal groups, or sort of adjacent groups that sum to 10. So we could do something like that, I'm going to claim, because 5, 2 and 3 add up to 10, and 4 and 6 add up to 10. What you couldn't do, is put 5 here, because obviously that's going to break the rules of Sudoku. So if this was a length 5 line, you would know that the first sequence of adjacent digits would have to be 3 cells long, which would be an interesting deduction. Now, and then it just says digits may repeat within these sums if allowed by other rules. Well, yeah, okay. Well, you couldn't have 2 5s in the same box, so that wouldn't be allowed there. And then we get to the end of the rules. So after 17 minutes of video, that is long. That is long. I'm not going to deny it, and I'm sorry, but in my opinion, and we will see whether I am right, zetamath puzzles are absolutely worth it. So anyway, do have a go at this. The way to play is to click the link under the video, and I guarantee it will give you a lot of pleasure if you manage to solve this, because zetamath puzzles always do. But now I get to play. Let's get cracking and let's start building some of these snakes. Now, right, so this must be where we start, because this is the region sum line. So it has to get into another 3x3 box, and I can see the only way it's got to take those cells. It's got to, because it can't get out any other way. It can't overlap. Right. So this one, which is a 10 line, even if it only had one. Actually, it does only have one. I'm suddenly realizing. Yeah, okay, so this line is made up of a sequence of numbers that add up to 10. And it's only one sequence of numbers because there's not enough room. I think the shortest line you could have that had 2 sequences adding up to 10 would be a 4-cell line. Then you could have sort of a 1, 9 and then a 2, 8 or something like that. But because you can't write 10 into one Sudoku cell, well, it goes at least like that, and that cell is a 2 or a 3, because we know that the length of the snake here has to be in this cell, and this can't be any longer than 2 or 3. It's either 2. Well, if it's a 2, that is an 8, I think. That's just forced, because the length of the snake is 2. And if it's a 3, these 2 cells have to add up to 7. So there is something, we're definitely going to have information to extract from this circle. Right, this W has got penned in, and that is a whisper if I remember rightly, so it's got to be at least 2. So we'll green those in. That's got to get out. That's got to be at least 2. The renban has to get out because everything has to be at least 2. Now my blue thing has to come down here. Blue thing, go down there. And right, here is a little point about blue things. The minimum sum, actually it's not the minimum, well, it's interesting. I was about to say, and it still holds what I was going to say, the minimum sum of 5 different Sudoku digits is the triangular number for 5. 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 plus 5, which is 15. So I know that I can't just stop this line here, because that would require me to write 15 at least into this cell, which is not going to work. So this has to keep going down there because it can't overlap with that one, which is a red. Let's just make that red. In fact, maybe that's what we should do. We should give everything its colour to start with. What is that? It's orange. You see, I can't really see that one still. Now, what? Well, the only other thought I had as I was about to do the example there is to note that this can't add up to 15. Because this square is going to be a 2 or a 3. I mean, imagine that was a 2. Then the minimum sum of this would be 1 plus 3 plus 4 plus 5 plus 6, which is quite a lot. It's 19. That would so maybe this has to be at least 3 cells. No, this is right. This is already pretty, actually. Yeah. Okay, I've got it. I've got it. I'm going to slightly abandon that line of thought, but come back to it very quickly, because I can see something about these 2 snakes. Now, what's the maximum? Well, not one of these is a 2, is what I'm going to claim, because this we know is not snakeable. The blue has sort of trapped in the renban. So if the renban grows bigger than 2, it traps in the W as a 2 snake. And if the W snake grows bigger than 2, it traps in the renban at size 2. So one of these has to be a 2. And that means that has to be a 3. But this, I think this has much more profound implications, actually, for this line, doesn't it? Because all of a sudden, there's no way this is going to work with a domino here. And the reason I say that is the maths I was doing before, where I was imagining what this digit was. Now, on this section of digits here, I can't put less than 1, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1. Oh, hang on. Now but I think that's true, but I'm now suddenly realising this is confusing. I've got to combine that with the fact that this digit has to be, well, that digit can't, that digit can't be 7 anymore, and that's going to push up the total. This is very clever. Yeah, okay. So what I'm realising, what I said was that this is at least 1 plus 4 plus 5 plus 6 plus 7. And that's 23, I think. But that obviously means that this isn't long enough, because I can't make those 2 cells add up to 23. And that means the actual length of this snake is not 7, which is its current length, it's at least 8. But now I'm thinking that has to be 8, because now the minimum sum of this is 24. But there's no way I can get this blue snake here. Well, we know the blue snake here has to take another cell in this box, so it's got to take this one because of the wall of non-snakiness here. And the maximum sum of those cells is 7, 8, and 9, which is 24. And if I make this 9, I'm alleging, I may be wrong about this, I will double check it, I'm alleging if I make this 9, I can't make this add up to only 24, because I could have a 9 and a 1, and then I'm going to add to that 4, 5 and 6, which is 15, so it's 25, which is too many. Because I certainly can't get back into this box in only... Well, no, the point is that the next snake cell here is outside. Yeah, is outside box 4. And I can't go there. Because if I go outside box 4, say I did this, now this needs to have at least 3 cells in box 5, because it's got to add up to at least 24. And that's going to make this digit more than 9. So actually, this is, I think this is now totally forced. Everything is forced. This is 8. This is 7, 8, 9. Whoa, which I totally mistyped. That adds up to 24. I then have to minimize these digits to make this achievable. Now let's just double check the maths. We've got 4, 5, 6, which is 15, plus 9, which is 24. So it just works. And now now we can think about, this is beautiful. It's really beautiful. Holy interactions, Batman. Because that's a 2. And the reason I know that's a 2 is because I've done enough German whispers to know there are secrets of whispers that we can avail ourselves of here. What are the secrets of whispers? Well, whispers lines, or whisper snakes in this instance, can never have 5 on them, because 5 has no digits that are 5 away from it, that are sudoku digits. So there's no 5s on a whispers line, and therefore every digit on a whispers line is either lower than 5 or higher than 5. But the next digit after that is the opposite of whatever that one is. So if you had a 1, 2, 3, 4 on a whispers line, the next digit, which has to be at least 5 different from 1, 2, 3 or 4, is obviously on the high side of 5. And then if you have a digit that's on the high side of 5, the next digit must be on the low side of 5. And therefore, I need a low digit in one of those 2 cells. And I don't have 1, 3 or 4 available. So there must be a 2 in one of those squares. But we know one of these snakes is of length 2, which means I think that that's a 2. Which means these squares are 7 and 9 by sudoku. I thought I was going to get this one. But 2 is an annoying digit for a whisper. No, it's much better if this was 7. Then this would have been 1 or 2, and we would have known what it was. Oh, but this is right. This is of length 2 now. I keep forgetting that we have to. Yeah, hang on. I keep forgetting. Right, I've got. There's all sorts of little information nuggets you can glean from everything that we're getting here, because I've suddenly realised that this 3 is telling me that this sum here is 3 cells long, so that has to be grey, and it doesn't run into this one. So maybe we have to. Let's use the pen tool to sort of delineate some of this a bit more clearly. We know that that is the limit of the S region. We know that the W region is of length 2 now. We know that we know that this region, the R region, is enormous. It's at least of length 7. So it's going to have to go down column. It's going to have to go down column 1. And the only thing I can see there is it doesn't go to here in column 1. Because if it does go to there, you can't put this digit in column 1 anymore. Alright, just give me a moment or two to think about this. I have a feeling this digit is now important. Whatever this digit is appears in one of those cells, and therefore does appear down here in column 1, but can't appear in purple. So that digit appears in one of those 2 squares. Maybe we could... I'll use the R and try and remember that that's what that means. That's right, isn't it? That's completely uncontroversial. Yeah, this digit can't go in those squares and can't go in these squares, but has to appear in column 1. So I think that is legitimate. Okay, right, now I might be stuck. What do we do next, do you think? Can we get these two digits sorted out? These add up to 7 to make a sequence that adds up to 10, and they're not 3, 4. So these are either 1, 6 or 2, 5. Okay. Alright, here's another tiny deduction. This whisper doesn't start with a 2 anymore, so it's at least length 3, and that moves it to here. Now that means this one has to go this way, because everything is at least a length 2 snake, we know that. So we get a series of little deductions that way. Oh, my tummy's rumbling. Wow. Okay, and now I've got nothing. I've really got... Oh, right, that's got to be exactly the same logic that applied to this circle applies to this circle, so that 10 sum comes a bit further. Does that mean this? No, it doesn't mean this has to extend, because we don't... I think this could be a 2. Well, okay, that is true that this can be a 2, but it can't be an enormous... What I'm noticing is that this snake is a bit trapped in, isn't it? There's 3 white cells it can visit, but it can't visit all 3 of them without being a very strangely shaped snake. So it can only be, that can only be a 2 or a 4, because it can't be a 3 length. So it's a 2 or a 4. If it's a 2 length, right, that's beautiful. Right, it's a 4. It's a 4 because if it was of length 2, if it's a Renban of length 2, what's this digit? It's got to be consecutive with 2, but it can't be 3. So it has to be 1, and then you can't make these two squares add up to 7 anymore, because 1 and 2 would not be in that congregation of digits. So that is 4, which means it definitely goes to here. That feels like it really nearly... No. Oh, I see. No, I can do this. I can do this. I see what you're planning here, zetamath. Now we're going to ask the very obvious question of where 9 goes in row 1. Where does 9 go in row 1? What it doesn't do is go in a Renban line that's of length 4 with a 4. Because 4, 5, 6, 7 is the highest digit you can possibly put in this Renban. In fact, yeah, okay. So the 9 in the top row must go here. Sorry, I'm jumping around a bit in my brain. Now this has got to be the extension of the Renban line. We now know that 7 in the top row is in this Renban line with this 4. So these squares have to be 5, 6 and 7 with the 7 up here. So the 7 is not there. So now the 2 in the top row is in this little congregation of digits, and we know this domino adds up to 7, so that's 2, 5, which means these are not 5. This is 5. I love this already. This is now a 1, so these are not 1. I can snakeify this and formalize its structure. This, well, can that go up? That's an entropic line, so yeah, it can go up. If that's a 2, oh no, it can't be a 2. No, okay, that doesn't go up because it can't be a 2. Otherwise it might have been able to go up and be a very short, stubby snake into the corner. But it can't be a 2, and it's the head of a snake. So it must be at least of length 3, and therefore it comes down here. This one... hang on, 5 I can put here, look. So this is a 4, 6 pair. Come on, Simon, what does this mean? I don't know. No, I've got nothing here. I'm just trying to understand where I'm meant to look. I'm sure there's going to be something more obvious than anything I'm seeing at the moment. Okay, no, that's not a sensible way to approach the question. Is it something to do with... Oh, I don't know. Maybe we can think about this, can we? I mean, if this is a low digit, i.e. if it's on from a whisper's perspective, if it's lower than 5, because this is already of length 3, this would be a 3. So this is either 3 or it's a much bigger number. So it's and it can't be 6 actually, look at that. So it's at least 7, 8, 9. So either this ends, but if this is 3, this would have to be 5 different. So the only way this is 3 is if this goes 3, 8, 1. Which, believe it or not, might be possible. I don't think I can rule that out, which is slightly perplexing. Okay, what about this one then? Okay, maybe we can rule out 3 from this circle. If that's a 3, these 3 digits have to add up to 10, which means these 2 digits have to add up to 7, and they can't, because 3, 4, 1, 6, 2, 5 are all not available. So this is not a 3, and that means this is quite a big number. It's not 2, 3, 4, 5. It's at least 7. This one. Whoa! So that's 7, 8, or 9. So this one has to come out. It's got to grow, and it's got to grow quite a long way. It's got to come, well, it's got to go further than this, but now we can build out the M line and the R line. We don't know whether this is a 3 or not, do we? Do we know anything about this one? No. But now we can extend this again, because this is at least a 7 line. Oh, hang on, I've got a problem here. Because all I'm just thinking is, if that's a 9, we've got to construct a 10 line, so this would have to be a 1. Right, so that can't be an 8. That can't be an 8, because if this is an 8, the only way of making a sequence of digits that add up to 10 at the start of the line is going to be 8, 2, with a 2 here, and the 2 is going to clash. So this is 7 or 9, and it's odd. And that's... I don't know what that does. Maybe nothing. So this square... Right... Yes, okay, so let's do that principle again. If this is 9, this is 1. If this is 7, we can't put a 1-2 pair after it to give us the extra 3 we need, so that has to be a 3. So this is a domino within the 10 sequence that sums to 10. I don't think that's doing anything, is it? No, it is. Right. Oh, sorry. Look, it's Sudoku. Of course, it's always going to be Sudoku. There's a 7-9 pair here, and where do we put that in box 2? It's got to live in those 2 squares. So that square is not 3 or 8. That's a 7-9 pair. Now, this is a whisper, so this is big. So this has to be little, and therefore it has to be... I want to say 1 or 3. I was hoping to say 3, but it could be 1 as... Ah! You rotten thing. I think it can be 1. Okay, alright, so that's a fool's errand. What's this digit then? This is higher. Oh, wait a minute. This being 7 or 9 means this whisper's enormous as well. So it's got to start travelling down the grid. It's got to go miles. It's at least a 7. This P, we know every snake is at least 2. That can't be a 2 because there's already been a... Oh, in fact... Hang on. What have we got to place in this box? 6s and 8s. So this is at least a 6. If that can that. Ah, look at that. That can be 6. 6 is normally very difficult on whispers lines because 6 is monogamous and can only partner up with a 1. But look, this could be a 6 because very annoyingly, that could be a 1 and that could be a 1 and it would work. And the expression we look for at times like this is bobbins. Now, what about then? What about modularity lines? So this has got to start growing. It's got to go at least to here. It's got to go further than this, but we know it's got to reach 6. This has got to reach at least 7. Can this be a 2? Maybe. Okay. Right, now I don't really know where to look now. I think I'm going to start with pencil marking, so Mark will be very pleased with me. Pencil mark. We can have here, we haven't put 8 into this row, so these squares are 1, 3 and 8. But, oh, I was about to try and make those two add up to 10. That's very silly. Okay, so we need to find a way of sort of tagging these together, don't we? So we've got this sort of thing going on. Let's draw some boundaries in. Draw some boundaries in. Draw some boundaries in. Draw that little boundary at the top. Draw some boundaries in down here. Make ourselves feel like we're making progress without doing very much thinking. Now, this digit has to partner up. Can that be 8? Because then this would have to be 2, and it looks like it can be, doesn't it? Probably is. This is probably 8, 2. Oh, that's a circle, so that can't be a 1. But it could still be a 3. Now, this is entropic, so if this is 3, this is low, which means we would have to have a medium and a high beneath it. That one, oh, hang on, yeah, let's check. We should pencil mark these, because I've suddenly seen that this couldn't be high entropy. In fact, look, these digits are all little. Now, we can't put 1 in there. So if that is 3, that has to be 4, because 1, 2 and 3 are from the same entropic set. Ah, now the whispers line is going further, so that's got to be... Look, we can keep extending the logic along the whispers lines. That can't be 4. 4 is not at least 5 different from 8, and certainly isn't at least 5 different from 6. So that's 6, 7, 8, or 9. Now, okay, we can do a little bit better. That can't be 6, can it? Because then this will be 1, and this will be 1, and we'll have a problem with a monogamous digit being bigamous, which it certainly doesn't want to be. Okay, so that's low again. That might be able to be 4 rather irritatingly. Because, oh no, it can't be 4. Because the next digit is here or here along this whisper. And either way round, it's going to force a 9 there, which will see those. So that can't be 4. Right. No, it doesn't do anything. What about modularity then? Modularity is the one I can never remember. Look at your keypad. 1, 4, 7, 2, 5, 8, 3, 6, 9. So if that's 6, right, that digit has the same modularity as this cell. So if that's 6, that's got to be 3 or 9. And that's fine. And if that's 8, that's got to be 2 or 5, which, well, bobbins. Okay. I haven't got a clue where to look now. What about... Right, I have you now. I see what you've done here, you naughty little zetamath. Now, right, here is a little point that we are going to... Yeah, it's beautiful. It's very simple. Look at this domino. this domino adds up to 10 because it's in a 10 sum, which means that that domino adds up to 10 as well. But this is under different pressure because this is a whispers line. So how could that be 7 and 3? 7 and 3 are not 5 apart, so it cannot be 7 and 3, which means this cannot be 1, 9, because if this is 1, 9, that is 7, 3. So this is 7, 3, which means this is 9, 1, which means this is not 7, look. Aha, now we get to remove 1s from these squares. So this is 2, 3. This is that right? Yeah, okay. This is great. And but although it's going to extend my E line, because that being 2, 3, 4 means that's 8 apparently, and that's 1. Oh, I want to think about the length of this line, but also I'm sort of my brain is flitting over everywhere. Right. This is only just working because this is a high entropy digit, which appears in that sequence of 3 cells. So in this sequence of 3 cells, we need a high entropy digit, and it has to be here. And it can't be 9 or 8, so that has to be 7. And this one we don't quite know. It's low or medium. So we don't know what this is. This could still be 2. If it's 2, and this is Renban, this is 1 or 3. This has got a lot of growing to do. This, no, we don't know. This, all right, I'm going to come back to this one. This one is of length 7. Now, at the moment, it's only of length 6. So, what does that mean? This is... Right, here is something mildly interesting. This, the second sequence of digits along this 10 line that add up to 10 are not 4 cells long. We can say that for certainty, because if they were 4 cells long, the 7th cell would have to be a 10, and that's impossible. And that's because 4 cells, the minimum 4 different digits in Sudoku can add up to is 10 with a 1, 2, 3, 4 triple. So if this was 1, 2, 3, 4 adding up to 10, we'd have to put a 10 in one of those squares. That's not going to work. That means this is a 3-cell sum, because this can't be a 9, which means this digit is either... I want to say 7, 6 or 5, and it's not 7 because of this 7. So this isn't 2. So there's a little sort of tag of digits there. In fact, I'm going to use a different colour for that. I'm going to use yellow. Yeah, that's quite inoffensive, isn't it? That's sort of just to keep track of these 10 sums. And now we know there's a 10 sum either there or there. That's interesting as well, actually. Sorry, the thing I just noticed as I did that is that if that is there is a 2-cell sequence at the end of this line that adds up to 10. And if it's there, it has to be 4, 6, because 7, 8, and 9 have gone in this row. That feels very Zeta-ish to me, that sort of deduction. That feels like, if that's 4, 6, that's 5. That's using up all the middle entropy. Do we have to have middle entropy? Oh, that would be so beautiful. No. Oh, do you? Yeah, of course you do. Oh, that's sick. Right. Right. I understand. Epiphany. Right. Okay. So, what we have to do here is to hypothesize about the structure of this 7 snake, and imagine that its final cell was here. Because if we were in this world, this domino adds up to 10 without using 7, 8, 9, so it's a 4, 6 pair, which makes this 5. Now the reason that shouted at me was 4, 5 and 6 are then gone from this box, and I know from an entropy perspective 4, 5 and 6 is one of the bands of entropy. So my next question was, if I do 4, 6 this with a 5 here, I can't have a middle entropy digit along this line in this box. But this is high entropy. So I don't know how the entropy goes along this snake, but if this was low entropy, we know the next digit on the snake has got to be middle entropy because the high's gone. And if this is middle entropy, it can't exist because that's 456. So this is Zeta's way of telling us that that is where the grey line goes. And now we can draw that in. But, okay, all right, no, all right. And I think... well, there's the corollary of this, of course, is that actually... it's so pretty. It's just beautiful. I can run that logic exactly again on this domino. If that's 4, 6, that's 5, and I still can't make this entropy line work. So this is not 4, 6, it's not 3, 7, it's not 1, 9, that's 2, 8. Bingo. And the 2 8's resolved by the fact I've got a 7, 8, 9 triple in that row. So that's 2, that's 8. And that's absolutely beautiful, isn't it? It's absolutely beautiful logic. Although now I've ground to a halt. Okay, no, right. We'll go back to region building then. So we've got this one's got to drop down here. At least. Do we know? We know that one is the same modularity now as this one. So if this was 6, that can't be 3, that's 9. Now, okay, that doesn't work. Okay, I'm almost getting used to the way that the naughty zetamaths brain works. Right, if that's 6, watch this. That's 9 by modularity. What's this digit? Well, that's 8. What's this digit? Well, that's 8 because of the 6 here. We get 2 8s in the column, and that's jolly naughty. So that's got to be 8, which means that's got to be... oh, look, we do get double 1. We get double 1 here. 6, 6. This 6 is almost being a bit bigamous because it does partner up with 2 different 1s. And tries to make sure these 2 1s don't see each other and know of each other's existence. Naughty 6. Right. What does this mean? So now we should check this digit, shouldn't we? Which has to be the same modularity as the 8, and is a 2 or a 5. That's incredibly annoying because that seems to be... well, if we knew that was a 2. That would be a 5. That does nothing. Right. Okay. Right. Where do we look now then? Okay, that's not 4. I can see that. Because if that's 4... This line goes down in a straight line like that, and it has to have consecutive digits that don't include 5, so it has to be a 1, 2, 3, 4 quadruple, and you can't put 2 in it if this is 4. So that is not 4. That's 2 or 3, which means it only comes down as far as this as a maximum. This is... gosh, I find it very hard to switch between entropy and modularity. So if this is 4, this is 2 or 3. And if this is 2 or 3, that's 4, that's 5. If that's 2, this is... if that's 2, that is 3 now. Is that broken for some reason? Because it would have to be consecutive with 2 and it couldn't be 1. So if that's 2, that is 3. If that's 3, these two digits have to be consecutive with 3. And couldn't get as high as 4. Oh, right, it's that simple. That can't be 3. If this is 3, let me show you why. If this is 3, that has to extend down. And now how are we filling these two digits? The problem we've got here is this 5, which means that we could have one of these as a 4, but the other one would need to be a 2, and it can't be. We simply cannot put 2 in this sequence. So this doesn't work, and that digit is a 2, which means this digit is not a 2. This is a 3, because it can't be a 1. We can hive off that domino. Yeah, that's fine, isn't it? But it doesn't really do... It doesn't tell us. We still don't know the entropy of this digit. Wow. I've got a horrible feeling I've missed a trick here. Do I have to... Oh no, right, got it. Okay. There, it's beautiful actually. Again, it's just another absolutely beautiful little micro deduction, if you like. That digit sees 1, 2 and 3. So it cannot be low entropy. So it must, and it cannot be high entropy. So it's got to be middle entropy. And if it's middle entropy, that digit has to be low entropy. And that does all of that. Look at that, just fills in. It's beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. And now we know that the next digit along this snake has to be low entropy. So it has to be a 1. It has to be a 1 because it can't be a 2. So there is a 1 in one of those squares by sudoku, or sort of more by entropy actually. And then after that there needs to be a middly digit, which will have to be, so if we went that way, this would be a 4 or a 6. If we went here, it depends how this snake works. One, two, three. It might be true to say that has to be orange and high. Because this snake cannot be in column 9 now for its is it its 7th digit, can it? Because if it is, so if this just continues down this column, that's going to be a high digit by entropy, but it can't be 7, 8 or 9, so it cannot go there for its 7th digit. So where does it have to go for its 7th digit? Well, due to sort of the restrictions upon it, however it gets there, it always takes that cell, and that digit is high. And you can see actually it doesn't do anything, unfortunately. We don't know anything about that, but I think that logic feels right. Sudoku. That digit is restricted by sudoku. Maybe it's 4 or 6. I'm not sure. I'm going to check this one. What I've seen is that that's seeing 7, 8, 9. Now it's also seeing 1, 2, 3 and 5. So it is 4 or 6. Right, there's a 4, 6 pair in this row. That's got to be important. So 2, 7, 8 and 9 are left to place. 2, 7. Oh, well that digit can't be 7, 8, 9. That's a naked single. That's a 2. That's going to do wonders for my parity thing. In fact, does that mean that parity thing's massive? It does, doesn't it? Because this is huge. Now we've got 7, 8, 9s here. That can't be 8. Worried about modularity. No, that's fine. And then I merged modularity and entropy in my brain. I was like, oh, I've got a 7, 8, 9 triple here. this is not 9, okay, by the power of sudoku, but this is now a length 7 at least a snake, so that's got to come poking down the grid here. This one has to keep going. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I wanted to say it couldn't repeat 9, but that's nonsense. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So it's got to keep going. So we can do some more shading in, can't we? Look, there's an 8-9 pair that's emerged because we know this must be high polarity. So this is low polarity and can't be 1. So that's 2, 3, or 4. And that we can also see that this whispers line doesn't come to this square, because this doesn't have the opportunity anymore to be a high digit. 6, 7, 8 and 9 have gone in the column. So in fact we could do that, couldn't we? That would be a sensible thing to do. And because of that we can say this can't be 4. Well, not because of that, but that can never be 4 because it would see 2 9s. It would see a 9 here and a 9 in one of those positions, which would have to be here, but it doesn't matter. It would still be 2 9s in box 8. So there's a 2 3 pair. Right, there's a 2 3 pair, so this is a 5. There we go, 5 2. This column hasn't got a 4 in it. Let's put that in. And come on. Do we now know what this line's doing? This is 7 or 9. If it's 7, that square is 1 or 4. It would be 1, wouldn't it? Because it couldn't be 4. But if this is 9, this is 6. So it doesn't have a lot of options. But I think it's got enough options that we don't really know what's going on. Oh, botheration. Okay, we're going to have to think harder. What about... I don't know. I've got nothing here. 1 in this box is a bit restricted. Oh, so 1 is on the Renban. But if that's a 9, there was always going to be a 1 on the Renban. But if that's a 7, then we would know, because it's got 1 on it, it would be the digits 1 to 7. So it wouldn't have 8 or 9 on it, which... I suppose 8 is in one of these squares. I can't quite see how to do this. What's the parity line? It alternates parity. So if this is even, this is odd, and it would have to be 3 or 5, which would be possible probably. If that's 7, this is even, and it would have to be 4 or 6. Golly, okay, I don't know what to do. Right, okay. Oh, right, there's a little bit of Sudoku we can do. Look, this is a 7, 8, 9 triple, the 7 of which is in row 4, so that can't be a 7. Or we'd prevent ourselves from putting a 7 in box 5. That gives me a 7 here. Gives me an 8, 9 here. I think that's always been there. If that's 7, that's the R digit, isn't it? So there is a 7 or a 9 down here, making a virtual pair with this digit. Wow, I'm properly stuck here. I don't really understand what I'm meant to be looking at. Is it our old friend Sudoku? It could always be that. There is a 4 in one of those squares. So if that's 4, we know that's 7. And then this would be odd and would have to be 3 or 5. But if this is 4, this is 8, and then this is 3 or 5. So there's always a 3 or a 5 in that string of digits, which is probably in some way useful to know. Okay, should we try? Oh, I don't know where to. I really don't know what to look at. What about? What do we need here? 3, 6. Let's try that down here. 3, 6, 7, 9. I think. Is that in some way restricted? We always know there's a... Oh, yes, it is a little bit. So there's always a 9 down here, which means this can't be 9. So that's restricted this one very slightly. 1, 4, 6, 9. So these are from 1, 4, 6 and 9. We know that's definitely not 1. That's definitely not 9. Or can we use entropy to help us here? Maybe. Let me think about that for a second or two. So we're on 7, aren't we? So the next digit would be 1. So if we go here, we have to put 1 in. And then the next digit would be 4, 6. And that would mean this would have no fill. Oh, sorry. Is it that simple? If we go here, do we break the world, is my question. I think we do, because neither of these could be 9. And we couldn't put a 9 in the box. So from an entropy perspective, we don't go there, which means we must go here, which means this is the 1, which means this is not the 1. That means there is a 9 in this domino, which we... Ah, look, sorry. We've got this 9 here as well. That's probably fixing that much more quickly. Right, so we have to come down here now, because we can't go through the 9. We'd be hitting it from an entropy perspective too early. So these two squares are unsnakeable. Ah, right. We will colour you in with... What should we use? No, I can't. I don't have a light grey, do I? Do I have a light grey hidden in any of these palettes? No. All right, so we'll just ring this with this. And we can get this digit now, can we? We've got 8, 7. We need a middly digit, which is 4, 5 or 6. And this is now 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. It's of length 7. This is high, so its next digit is... I could go here with a 3. Ah! It either goes there with a 3 or there with a 1. I don't know how to pencil mark that, but one of those things is true. This 1 here is giving me a 1 over here by our old friend Sudoku. Which, is that going to be in any way helpful? I wish. 3, 4, 5... 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, that is a 5 or a 6, believe it or not, I think. This is 3, 4, 5 or 6, and this one is 3, 4, 5 or 6. Bother. So the main restriction there was on this digit, wasn't it? And this is entropic. Ah, that's beautiful. Not entropic, it's modular. That can't be 5, because 5 would be too close to an 8, which is its modular friend. So that's 6, that's 4, that's 6, that's 4. Good, 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 good. Now, come on. 4 is now... Oh, that's lovely. Look what this is doing. So 4 is now here, which tells us the parity line, which has got longer by virtue of this. 9, 7, everything's going to... Look, now the modular line needs a 1 here by modularity. Come on, come on, come on, come on. This has got to be good. This is not 4. Ah, not 4. This is not 6. This 8 and 9 we can do. 8 and 9. Come on, 9 goes to 8 here. This square here has to be 2 or 5. That's fine. The 2, 3 still work, very annoyingly. This, oh look, this is so annoying. Right, what's this one? This has got to be odd parity, and it's Oh, it's got loads of options. 3, 5, and 7, I think. Not. Oh, hang on. That tells me something. So this is now 3 or 5. I've got a 3, 5 pair here, so I need a 6, 7 pair at the bottom of the column. How is this not resolved? 2, 5, 9 at the bottom of this column. And presumably now I have to ask about... I don't know. I'm going to ask about... no. I thought I had a brainwave. I haven't. I want to know which way this whisper goes. Unfortunately, I think it could still go to a 7 here. It definitely can't go to a 6 here. But if it turns this way, it has to go to 9 in this position. I don't see what's wrong with that. That's so annoying. What about the modularity of this line? So we need a 3 or a 3, 6, 9 as the next digit. So if it goes down, it has to go to 9. If it goes that way, I could do it also. Oh, I tell you what, it probably can't do. If it goes that way, its next digit's problematic, isn't it? Or could it be? Ah, no, this is good. I've spotted something. 7 and 6 by Sudoku. Yeah, look, if we turn in here, that digit is the same modularity, so we don't turn. Which means, well, that's going to be good. That's going to be good for my modular line, because my modular line comes down here, where it needs to be a 9. That's not a 9 now. That's not a 9 now. But this is now hiving off my whisper line for its final digit, which is here, which now must be 7, because 6 is monogamous with 1. So that's 7, that's 2, that's 3, that's 5, that's 3, that's 2, that's 3. These two squares are 6 and 5. Bobbin's face. I don't know if that's resolved. This parity line has to come into this square now, because that's going to be green. I mean, it's quite remarkable, isn't it, how all of these snakes which lived at the top of the grid are disambiguating. There was, well, lower than row 4 in the grid, there was no snake at all. So zetamath in constructing this will have had to be sure that these snakes at the top snake down and disambiguate the last 5 rows. That's really clever. That is really clever. Now, can I pull that same trick again here? 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh no, it's only got one more cell to go. This one. And we know that cell is low polarity. But that is not 3 anymore. So we must go here, and we must take 1 as our final cell of orange. Okay, this is feeling like it might be useful now. Now, if that's 3, 6, 9, that's certainly not 6. This column hasn't got an 8 in it, so let's put that in. Therefore, this is not 8. These two squares are 2, 4, and 5. That's not 2. So 2 in the corner. That means this is 5, which we could have got in other ways. That's 6, look. This is not 6. I'm not doing my Sudoku very well, never mind. We're still at least, we're alive and kicking in the puzzle. No, it's not resolved, is it? Okay, but we know the parity of this digit. It's got to be even. Which is underwear. Really? Can that really be 2, 4, and 6? Apparently it can. Right. So then it's got to find an odd digit, doesn't it? Oh, look at that. Wow. Okay, so if this turned down, how could this be odd? It can't be 1, 7 or 9 from the row, or 3 and 5 from the column, so it can't. So it goes there. That seems to address a pencil marked 8, because we now need this to be odd. And in fact, we need it to then extend down, don't we? So it is going to take the 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. It's only got one more cell. It can't touch itself. So it's got to be careful about where it goes next. This digit is odd. It's not 1 or 3 or 7. So it's 5 or 9. Really? Okay, 5 or 9. Don't know if it's resolved. Which feels bizarre, doesn't it? Oh, hang on, I might have broken it. Right, I haven't broken it, because remember right at the start when we put the R pencil mark in, well, we know that this can't take the whole of the column. So that has to be 7, and that just, look, allows it to knock that one out, which puts this digit in the corner and doesn't break the puzzle, because now we can end our snake there. We know these squares have to be 3, 5 and 6 to make sure we're in consecutive land, so the 3 must go here. This is now a 9. And hopefully something is this resolved now? I don't know yet. I'm sure it is somehow. 6 is here by Sudoku. So that's 9. That's 3. So this is 5. That's 5, 6. That's 6. That's 4. That's 6. That's 5. That's 4. That should be done. That's 2 now, is it? Okay, so in this column, we need 1 and 4, which we can put in. And in that box, we haven't put 9. Now, I'm not sure I've done my snakes properly, so I'm going to just pause there and think. No, I haven't. Look, this snake is not done. The parity snake needs another odd digit, or it needs another digit, and it's got to be odd. So the parity snake comes down there, and that becomes red. This one is finished. No, this isn't. This is not finished. Whoopsie. Right, the modularity snake. It's got to here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It needs 2 more digits. So its next digit is a 5 or it's 5 or an 8. It's terrifying because you think, oh, is it going to be able to get one? And then its next digit is a 1, 4 or a 7. So it's got to be that one. Isn't that gorgeous? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That can exist, and that's fine. That might be all my snakes done. I think it probably is. Let's click tick. Yeah, fabulous. 119 people have solved that. Wow. I mean, that's testament to how good this setter is. It's not easy, and it is Holy Interactions Batman, isn't it? I mean, it takes... it's just gorgeous. I mean, there's so many cool things about this. What did I love over here? I loved the idea around this, the 4-6 pair, causing this to be 5 and then breaking the entropy. That is absolutely stunning. And I really also liked, there was something up here that put 2 8s in this column. That was lovely. But the way it all sits together, the way all of the different constraints operate, it's a really, really class execution, isn't it? I love the fact that you could work that out to be an 8 fairly early on. I mean, it's surprising that these are so powerful, knocking 2 and 3 off the line here. Quality as ever, zetamath. Loved it. Loved it. It was a sumptuous buffet for me. I hope you had a go. I hope you all enjoyed it. Do let me know in the comments. I enjoy the comments, especially when they're kind. And we'll be back later with another edition. Oh, don't forget, we've got the Roll of Honour coming as well with the nice music. But anyway, we'll be back later with another edition of Cracking the Cryptic. you.